She said her male work husband deserved a key to our house for emergencies. I replied, safety first. So I changed the locks and gave my mom a key instead for my own emergency. Her jaw hit the floor when her work husband was stranded on our porch. My wife, Megan, has a work husband. His name is Liam. I hate the term. It's a cheap, flimsy excuse for a man to have an inappropriate level of intimacy with a married woman. For the last year, Liam has been a constant presence in my life, a ghost at my dinner table, a name that comes up in conversation far too often. He's her confidant, her lunch partner, her professional cheerleader. According to her, he's the only one who truly gets the pressures of her job. I've tolerated it because I trusted her, but my tolerance has been worn down to a nub. Liam feels far too comfortable. He shows up at our house unannounced. He helps himself to beers from my fridge. He has an opinion on everything, from how I arrange the furniture to the brand of coffee I buy. And Megan defends every single one of his intrusions with a dismissive wave of her hand. Oh, that's just Liam, she'll say. You have to get to know him. I know him just fine. He's a man who doesn't respect boundaries, and my wife is a woman who doesn't enforce them. Last week, we had the conversation that ended everything, though I was the only one in the room who knew it at the time. I have a business trip coming up. I'll be gone for 5 days. Megan sat me down, her face a mask of serious manufactured concern. Honey, she said, I was thinking about something. You're going to be gone next week, and it makes me a little nervous being here all by myself. What if there's an emergency? What if I get locked out? I knew where this was going. I just waited. I think Liam should have a key to the house, she said, all in a rush. Just for emergencies, of course. He lives closer than my parents, and he's always so reliable. It would just make me feel so much safer. I stared at her. I didn't say a word. I let the silence hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. The sheer, unmitigated audacity of it was stunning. She wanted to give another man a key to my house. The house I bought, the house I pay the mortgage on, the house where we are supposed to be building our life together. She wanted to give him unfettered access to our sanctuary. She must have mistaken my silence for hesitation, for consideration. She pressed on. It's just a safety issue, babe, nothing more. It's the smart, responsible thing to do. And in that moment, a switch flipped in my brain. The part of me that was trying to be an understanding, patient husband died. It was replaced by something cold, hard, and brutally logical. She wanted to talk about safety? Fine, let's talk about safety. I looked at her, my expression unreadable. You're right, I said, my voice flat, safety first. A wave of triumphant relief washed over her face. She actually smiled, believing she had won, believing I was that weak. Oh good, she said. I'll get a copy made for him tomorrow. Don't bother, I said. I'll handle the new security arrangements. The next morning, I made 2 phone calls. The first was to a highly rated local locksmith. I scheduled them to come to my house on Monday morning, the day I was leaving for my trip. Their job was to rekey every single lock on the property. The front door, the back door, the garage, everything. The old keys would be useless. The second call was to my mother. My mom is a no-nonsense woman. She lives about 20 minutes away. I told her, Mom, I'm having the locks changed on Monday. I'm going to need you to hold on to a spare key for me. She asked why. I was honest. I have an emergency, Mom, I said. The emergency is that I no longer trust my wife. I need to know that the only other person with access to my house is someone who has my back, unconditionally. My mother didn't ask any more questions. She just said, I'll be there. Over the weekend, Megan was annoyingly cheerful. She was humming, being overly affectionate. She thought she had successfully manipulated me into accepting her work husband into the very heart of our home. On Saturday, I saw her slip her own house key off her keychain and put it in a small envelope with Liam's name on it. She was getting it ready for him. Monday morning arrived. I packed my bags for my trip. The locksmith arrived at 9 o'clock, right on schedule. Megan had already left for work. I let them in, and they got started. An hour later, the job was done. I had a brand new set of keys in my hand. I met my mom for a quick coffee on my way to the airport. I gave her one of the new keys and a hug. "Call me if you need anything," she said, her eyes full of concern. "Oh, I think you'll be getting a call," I replied. "But it probably won't be from me." I am now sitting in my hotel room, 3 states away. I know that Megan arranged for Liam to go to the house this afternoon. She told me he was going to check on the pipes because there was a cold snap coming. It was a lie so thin it was transparent. They just wanted him in my house while I was gone. He would have arrived about an hour ago. He would have walked up to my front door with the confidence of a man who believes he belongs there. He would have taken out the key my wife gave him. And he would have discovered that it was nothing more than a useless piece of metal. My phone has been quiet so far. But I know it's coming. The silence is the sound of their confusion turning into panic, and I am enjoying every second of it. Update 1. The call came 3 hours after I checked into my hotel. I was in the middle of reviewing a presentation when my phone lit up with Megan's name. I let it ring twice, then answered, keeping my voice calm and professional, as if I were answering a work call. "Hello, Ryan." The shriek was so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "What did you do? Why doesn't my key work?" I noticed she said my key, not Liam's. A classic deflection. "I'm not sure what you mean, Megan," I said calmly. "I'm on a business trip, remember?" "Don't play dumb with me," she yelled. "Liam is at the house. He tried to use the emergency key and it won't work. He's been standing on the porch for an hour. What did you do to the locks?" It was time to lay the foundation. "Oh, the new security arrangements," I said, as if just remembering. "Yes, I had all the locks rekeyed this morning. You said it yourself, honey. Safety first." There was a stunned silence on the other end of the line. You changed the locks?" she stammered. "Of course," I said. "You raised a very valid point about home security. It made me realize that we had far too many old keys floating around. Who knows who might have a copy? So I took your advice and implemented a full security upgrade. The only people with keys to my house now are people I trust without question. Me and my mother. It's much safer this way." The silence was replaced by a sputtering, incoherent rage. Your mother? You gave a key to your mother, but not to Liam?" "Liam isn't family, Megan," I said, my voice turning cold. "And he certainly isn't someone I trust with access to my home. Giving a key to a man who isn't your husband is a catastrophic security breach. I identified a vulnerability in our home's safety, and I eliminated it. You should be thanking me." "Thanking you?" she screeched. "Liam is stranded. He's going to be late for his client dinner. This is humiliating." Her priorities were, as always, crystal clear. Her concern wasn't for the sanctity of our home or our marriage. It was for her work husband's social schedule. "Well, there's a simple solution," I said. "If it's a true emergency, you can call my mom. Her number is on the fridge. I'm sure she would be happy to drive over, unlock the door, and let Liam in. Of course, she would have to stay there to supervise him until he's done. We can't have non-family members wandering around the house unsupervised. That would defeat the whole purpose of the security upgrade." I could almost feel her jaw hitting the floor through the phone. The thought of her precious Liam having to be chaperoned by my mother like a teenager was an indignity she couldn't comprehend. "I am not calling your mother," she hissed. "That's your choice," I said. "But Liam isn't getting in otherwise. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting to prepare for. I'm glad we agree on the importance of home security. Have a good evening." I hung up before she could reply. I then sent a quick text to my mom. "Just a heads up, you might get a call from a desperate woman. Feel free to take your time answering." My mom replied a minute later with a single winking emoji. I sat back in my hotel chair, a sense of grim satisfaction washing over me. This wasn't just about a key. It was about a fundamental lack of respect. She had tried to install another man in the heart of my life, in the very structure of my home. She thought I was too weak or too stupid to see it. She had mistaken my patience for permission. She was now learning, in the most direct and embarrassing way possible, that my patience had run out. And she was learning that I was not a man to be underestimated. This was just the first move. The real game was only just beginning. Update 2. I returned from my 5-day business trip to a house that felt like a tomb. Megan was there, but she was a ghost. She moved around me in stony silence, her face a permanent mask of resentment. She had, of course, not called my mother. I found out from a neighbor that she had been forced to leave a major client meeting early, drive 45 minutes home in rush hour traffic to let Liam in, and then drive all the way back to her office. The humiliation had been immense. For 2 weeks, we lived in a state of Cold War. The silence was punctuated only by her petty acts of retaliation. My favorite shirts would go missing from the laundry. The coffee pot would be mysteriously empty every morning. It was childish, pathetic, and ultimately meaningless. I knew her real anger wasn't about the key. It was about the loss of control. I had asserted my authority over my own home, and she couldn't stand it. I knew there was more to this than just a simple power play. The insistence on Liam having a key, the coordinated timing with my trip, it felt too planned. It felt like they needed access to the house for a specific reason. That's when I remembered the home security system I had installed 6 months ago. It included a few discreet indoor cameras, one of which was in my home office. I had set them up after a minor break-in in our neighborhood, but I had never told Megan about the office camera. I had my own concerns about privacy and trust even then. I decided it was time to review the footage. I started with the video from the day I left. I watched the locksmith change the locks. I watched my mom stop by to pick up the key. Then I fast-forwarded to the afternoon. I saw Liam's car pull up. I watched him walk confidently to the front door and try the key. I watched his confident smirk curdle into confusion, then frustration, as the key failed to turn. He tried it again and again. He paced the porch. He made a series of frantic phone calls. It was exactly as I had imagined. Then I skipped ahead to the evening footage. I saw Megan's car screech into the driveway. She stormed up to the door, let Liam in, and they both disappeared inside. This is where it got interesting. They didn't go to the kitchen to check on the pipes. They walked directly, with a clear sense of purpose, to my home office at the back of the house. The office camera picked them up perfectly. The footage was crystal clear. I watched as Megan stood guard at the door, while Liam sat down at my desk, in my chair, and tried to wake up my computer. My work computer is heavily encrypted and requires a complex password and a physical security key, which was with me on my trip. He couldn't get in, but that wasn't the point. The point was that he was trying. I kept watching. I saw him get frustrated. I saw him start looking through the papers on my desk. He picked up a folder, clearly marked with the name of one of my firm's biggest clients. He started to open it. And that's when I understood. This wasn't about an emergency. This wasn't about a work friendship. This was corporate espionage. For context, I work as a senior strategist for a major investment firm. My job involves developing long-term financial models for high-value corporate clients. It's sensitive, proprietary information worth millions of dollars. Liam, Megan's work husband, works for our biggest competitor. They weren't trying to get into my house. They were trying to get into my work. They were using my home as a staging ground to steal my data, my strategies, my intellectual property. The emergency key was their tool for a planned corporate raid, orchestrated to happen while I was out of town and unable to stop them. My blood ran cold. This was a betrayal on a scale I could never have imagined. This wasn't just disrespect. This was a conspiracy to ruin my career and my company for their own personal gain. The emergency I had told my mom about was real. It was just 1,000 times worse than I thought. I saved the footage. I downloaded it, backed it up to a secure, encrypted hard drive, and then backed it up again. I didn't confront Megan. I didn't say a word. I went about my days as if nothing had happened, enduring her petty silent treatment. She thought we were fighting about a house key. She had no idea I was now in possession of evidence that could not only end our marriage, but could end her career and send her work husband to prison. She thought she was punishing me. She had no idea I was preparing to deliver a consequence so total, so devastating, that it would burn her entire world to the ground. Final update. It has been 2 months since I discovered the truth. For weeks, I lived a double life. At home, I was the quiet, distant husband. In private, I was a man preparing for war. My revenge couldn't be emotional or impulsive. It had to be cold, methodical, and absolute. It had to be brutal. My first step was to contact a lawyer. Not just a divorce lawyer, but a top litigator who specialized in corporate law and intellectual property theft. I showed him the video. His eyes widened as he watched. When it was over, he looked at me and said, "This isn't just grounds for divorce. This is a federal crime." Together, we planned the attack on 2 fronts, the professional and the personal. The professional front came first. On the advice of my lawyer, I arranged a meeting with the chief operating officer and the head of corporate security at my firm. In a sterile boardroom, I played them the video. The atmosphere in the room went from professional curiosity to icy fury in the space of 5 minutes. They saw the blatant attempt to steal company secrets. They saw an employee from their biggest rival, aided and abetted by my wife, trying to access proprietary client data. The company's response was immediate and overwhelming. They launched their own internal investigation, bringing in forensic IT specialists. They didn't just want to confirm my evidence. They wanted to see if this had happened before. While my company was building its case, I prepared to detonate my personal life. I waited for the perfect moment. It came last Tuesday. It was the evening of my company's annual awards dinner, an event Megan had always loved attending. She didn't go this year, of course. She was at home, stewing in her resentment. I came home late, still in my tuxedo. I found her in the living room, watching television. I didn't say a word. I just walked over to the large screen TV, plugged in the encrypted hard drive, and pressed play. The video from my office camera filled the screen. She saw herself letting Liam in. She saw him sit at my desk. She saw him try to access my computer. She saw him pick up my client's folder. Her face went slack with horror. The color drained from her skin. She finally understood that I knew. I knew everything. When the video ended, the room was silent. She just stared at the blank screen, her entire body trembling. "The locks," I said, my voice devoid of all emotion. "I didn't change them because you disrespected me. I changed them because my gut told me you were a threat. Turns out I was right." She started to cry, the pathetic, pleading sobs of a cornered animal. "Ryan, I can explain. It wasn't what it looks like. He was just curious." "Save it," I said, cutting her off. I showed this video to my company's COO. "They are currently preparing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against your friend Liam and his company. He was fired this afternoon. I believe the term they used was, for cause, pending criminal investigation. He's finished." She stared at me, her eyes wide with terror. "As for you," I continued, "I am filing for divorce in the morning. Our marriage is over. You have betrayed me. You have betrayed my trust, and you conspired to ruin my career. You have 24 hours to pack your bags and get out of my house. If a single item of your property is still here by this time tomorrow, I will hand this video over to the district attorney and add your name to the list of co-conspirators. You will not just be divorced, you will be facing a felony charge." The breakdown was total. She fell to the floor, begging, pleading, promising she would do anything. But there was nothing left to say. I walked away, went into my office, my secure private office, and closed the door. She was gone by the next morning. The fallout has been catastrophic, just as I planned. Liam is facing a massive civil lawsuit for my company, and his own former company has cut him loose entirely, claiming he was a rogue agent. He is, for all intents and purposes, unemployable in our industry. He may still face criminal charges. Megan is a pariah. The story of what she did has ripped through our social circle. She lost her husband, her home, and her reputation in one swift, self-inflicted blow. She is staying on her parents' couch, a disgraced woman with nothing to her name. I acted on the premise she gave me. Safety first. I secured my home. In doing so, I uncovered a betrayal so profound it's hard to comprehend. But I didn't just get angry. I got strategic. I used their own greed and arrogance against them. They wanted to take everything from me. Instead, I took everything from them. My house is quiet now. The locks are new, and I am safe.